shit that you said. So
Alright, now
what the fuck you talking about?
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Tishay. Welcome to another sit and chat with, you know, your one and only. Yeah, so in today's video we are going to be delving straight into the most recently released episode of Baddies South, with the team looking like Luther Vandross. Okay? Yeah, so if this is something you are interested in getting a scoop on, you know what to do. Let's delve right in. But if you're new to this channel, please go ahead to smash that subscribe button. Okay guys, so we're going to be delving straight into the highlights, the major highlights of this new episode. And yeah, this particular episode did not even have too many highlights. I think it had like 4 highlights. Well, it's still something. But yeah, the first major highlight for this episode is of course the continued fight between Rollie Pollie and Anne. If you haven't watched my previous episode or my intake on the previous episode, please go ahead to go and watch that so that you know, or so that you can follow up with everything I'm saying here. So yeah, basically these highlights, or this first highlights, basically had you know, the continued fight scenario between Rollie Pollie and Anne. And you know, yeah, the girls went right into it. Rollie Pollie really whooped Anne's ass. I didn't want to say that A word, but I'm sorry, it came out. But yeah, yeah, she really went full in, right? And when they were finally separated, Rollie, you know, explained that she kept giving Anne a lot of chances to back down, but Anne was, you know, Anne just kept yapping and you know, she got to a point where she couldn't take it anymore, and she knew that she had to go in. So yes, Rollie Pollie went right in. So after that fight, I think after the separation, you know, Anne was taken to a different corner, and Rollie was, you know, mumbling about you know, everything that had aggravated her about Anne. Basically, you know, she mentioned that, you know, Anne had been saying too much, and basically she basically also said that, you know, Anne was mad about something that wasn't even necessarily, you know, related to her. Because I'm not gonna mention exactly why this fight happened, because like I said, I mentioned it in my previous episode or in my previous video. So if you haven't watched that video, I'm gonna put the link in this video so that you can have access to it. But yeah, that was like the first highlight for me. Like, that fight was everything. Second highlight is a scene where Jela and Sean went to meet up with Anne to basically confirm what Anne had said about Jela. Because when, you know, Rollie Pollie was mumbling previously, she had mentioned a whole lot that, you know, Anne liked to talk. She talked so much, she speaks ill of both her enemies and her friends, and one of the so-called friends was of course Jela. And of course, when Rollie was mumbling, Jela had overheard it, right? So this second highlight for me was when Jela and Sean finally met up with Anne to basically reconfirm what Anne had said, right? And yeah, Jela met up with Anne and asked Anne what she said about her, and Anne was like, oh yeah, I called you messy boots. And Jela was like, okay, so why did you call me messy boots? And Anne, you know, basically threw her consent out, saying that, you know, Jela was shuttling between herself, Persuasion, Natalie, and basically shortly between both the friends and the ops. Now, in regards to the fight that happened between Persuasion and Anne, right? So Anne basically was like, in response to that, was like, you know, when a friend comes, or when someone who is a friend comes to ask me about something, I'm not really sure she added the friend word there, but yeah, she basically said, when someone who is a friend comes to ask me about something and I know the answer to that question, obviously I'm going to answer regardless of what had happened. So yeah, basically she was just trying to, like, you know, justify her actions, right? You know, it immediately flipped from trying to having a conversation to like a verbal altercation between Anne, Jela and Sean. Probably Anne felt like, okay, you're basically just explaining to me how much more messy you are. And you know, in between Anne became the aggressor, in the sense that she started, making like random rants, like, okay, so what you gonna do, or so what we gonna do, so what are we doing, and all of that. And let me tell you, Anne was not just channeling this energy towards Jela, she was channeling it towards Jela and Christian. And I think how this thing started was, I think when Jela was trying to explain herself, or when Anne was trying to explain herself, Christian made some kind of movement, like, I think it's the gesticulation that Christian was making whilst trying to explain, or trying to like point out something to Anne, that got Anne thrown off. And immediately Anne was like, okay, so what are we gonna do, right? So it was at that particular point in time that a heated verbal altercation happened between Anne, Christian, and my baby girl Jela, right? So in between, Anne was like, okay, run up. She was telling Christian, because Christian was obviously responding. You already know how Christian is. She's a no nonsense, no bullshit person. And immediately Anne started acting that way, Christian was already heated up, fired up, and ready to go. And Anne was like, okay, run up. But Christian took several steps back, sat down, and was patient. And basically, personally for me, I feel like Christian was patient, was waiting for Jela to throw the first punch, and she was definitely gonna go right in for the kill, because we already know that Christian is not shy to jump. She's not shy to jump anybody. She already mentioned it, or she already stated it in the fight that happened between Persuasion and Anne in the previous episode, right? So, well, it very much ended at a verbal altercation, because the girls finally went their separate ways. Anne went upstairs to her room, and Jela was just left downstairs, still ranting. Now my question is, why didn't Anne, where was the energy? Anne was the first person to like have some kind of negative commentary first day in the bus to Brie. She was the one that said something negative to Brie. She was also the first person to run up on Persuasion when Persuasion was, it was so obvious that Persuasion was not ready to get into any fight. She just wanted to talk. Anne was heated up and ready. Now the question is, where was this same energy when it was now between herself, Jela, and Christian? And where did the energy go? I thought you were the Jagaban. But yeah, anyway, she didn't. She scooted up to her room and shut the door on Jela and Christian. How disappointing. But yeah, that's that for that scene. Did I say that this episode had 4 highlights? Sorry, it actually has 3 highlights. Yes, now the third and very much last highlight of this particular episode will be when Natalie finally walks in with the latest baddie by name Scott. Yes, Scotty came with fire. She came with vibe. But obviously, this fire and vibe she came in with was misinterpreted by some of the ladies. Example, Christian. Yes, because basically when Scotty was introducing herself, she was like, she's not into the whole fighting and stuff. She came here, she's the table, she's the money. She came to make the money. She wants to show the girls how to make money. And some ladies were like, okay. But of course they already know that Christian is a very outspoken person. She did not delay to tell Madam Scott off. Yes, this was like the last highlight of that episode. Like, well, I am still looking forward to see if a fight actually happened between Scott and Christian, because like the movement that Christian was making around Scott was a little bit too suspicious, okay? But yeah, basically that is like the last major highlight for this episode. This episode was, would I say it was short? I wouldn't say. I think it was short compared to like the previous episode. And yeah, these were like the major 3 highlights of this episode.
No, she's lit.